Hola nuevamente. Bienvenidos, bienvenidas y bienvenidos al primer panel de la tarde. Hoy vamos a conversar con Patrizia Mancini y con Gonzalo Argandoña. Vamos a conversar sobre Sunny Side of the Dog y todos los temas que se puedan desprender de esto. Sunny Side es un mercado que busca potenciar las coproducciones internacionales y la distribución de contenidos de no ficción en diversas plataformas. Además, tienen foco en la innovación digital y el apoyo a realizadores emergentes en regiones con menos representación. Todo esto da para conversar un montón sobre nuevas plataformas, innovación y también sobre el mercado de la televisión, de las series, etcétera. Y para ello, hoy día tenemos a Patrizia Mancini, que es jefa ejecutiva del área de desarrollo internacional del mercado Sunny Side of the Dog. Bienvenida, Patrizia.
Muchas gracias. Hola.
Hola. Y tenemos a Gonzalo Argandoña, querido amigo, director ejecutivo de Cábala Producciones y producción de series de documental. Hola, Gonzalo, bienvenido.
Hola Paula, muchas gracias.
También tenemos con nosotros a Paulina Azar y Paulina Cortés, quienes son intérpretes de señas en lengua chilena, para ojalá contar con amigos y amigas de la comunidad sordomuda que puedan participar también en este panel y enviar sus consultas. Les cuento que este panel va a ser en inglés, va a tener traducción simultánea a través de webinar, para ello tenían que inscribirse en un formulario, pero también lo vamos a estar transmitiendo en inglés a través de Facebook y YouTube. Y también que a medida que vayan surgiendo preguntas y observaciones, las puedan compartir con nosotros y se las haremos llegar a Gonzalo y a Patricia. Eso es, los dejo, Gonzalo, quédase a cargo. Muchas gracias.
Perfecto. Muchas gracias Paula y muchas gracias a ChileDoc y Conecta por esta invitación a moderar el panel. Ahora voy a cambiar a inglés, el que va a ser el idioma oficial del panel. So, hello Patricia, nice to meet you again. Personally, I have been 3 or 4 times at Sunny Side of the Dock at La Rochelle, and it has been a really nice and wonderful experience for networking and expanding context. For those who are in Latin America who have not participated in Sunny Side of the Dog, could you please give us a few words about the main focus and nature of the event, especially in normal times, before pandemics? Later, we can expand more detail what the changes that you are experiencing due to pandemics and COVID.
Of course. Thank you, Gonzalo. Thank you to all the ChileDoc and Chile Connecta for having me. Well, in few words, Sunny Side of the Dock, it's a co-production market for documentaries and immersive experience, new way of storytelling. We look for project in development and production. It's a 4 days market, and the core of these 4 days are the 6 thematic pitching session. And we do have, of course, many other events, small events happening during these 4 days, such as panels, case studies, workshops, depending on the focus we will choose each year. It's a market that, as you said, it's held in La Rochelle, which is in the southwest of France. Every year since 32 years, always the last week of June. So it's quite sunny and hot at that time. And it's a market with more or less 2,000 people usually coming, producers, filmmakers, international sales agents, decision makers, of course. And the most part of the decision makers population, it's from public and private broadcasters as well platforms. And since the beginning of our focus also on new technologies, cultural institutions, museums, with immersive experience.
And would you say it's an event mostly targeted to producers and distributors, or also it's an event, a market also appealing for directors as well, for instance?
I would say that it's mostly for producers, international sales agents, mostly, but then there are many others coming as well, and directors. We have, for example, a partnership with a French institution for others, and I think also it could be useful for them to participate to this kind of events, which are mostly business oriented, but that can give them an idea of what the market is looking for.
And the pandemic has been very challenging for all the markets and conferences. How have you lived such challenge, and what are your plans for this year, and what transformations are you living due to COVID? Are you planning to come back, for instance, to real face-to-face event, or just online?
I mean, yes, it was pretty tough for everyone in the industry last year, but I have to say that I saw a kind of, you know, very nice solidarity among all the events. Since last year, we've been talking with a lot of fellows, festivals and partners, exchanging about technical tools, what we can do together, and it was really nice. Last year, of course, we went completely online. It was very intense, but at the same time very exciting, because we also managed to reach people from some part of the world that usually don't come to Sunnyside, because sometimes they're too far away or could be expensive, especially for an independent producers. And as for 2021, we are working on an hybrid event as for now, so both physical and online, to allow everyone from all over the world to participate. So now it's a little bit too early, because of course we have to look at the evolution of the situation. But yeah, the idea, I mean, we hope to be able to welcome as many people as possible in La Rochelle.
And the dates are already defined for this year?
Yes, it will be from 21st to 24th of June. And we already have our call for project, which is planning. So just a technical information that could be useful. The call for submission will open on February 18 till April 22.
And it's a submission for projects. For what kind of projects? It's for projects targeted mostly for TV and VOD. It's also including theatrical projects, or it's mostly TV and VOD?
The call for projects, as I said at the beginning, it's open for project in development and production, looking for international co-production. That could be from an international producer in another country, or could be also from a broadcasters. We are actually open to any kind of format, short, series, feature-length documentaries. Then again, the most part of the decision makers are from public and private broadcasters. Since 2019, we are welcoming also foundations and platforms. And it's something that we are focused even more this year, trying to have foundation, especially from UK and from the UK and the US, where the most of them are based, because they're becoming more and more important player in terms of financing independent filmmaking.
And do you see it's a trending that will go even deeper over the years? Or?
Yeah, this is the idea. I mean, we Sunnyside has been in the last, I would say, 6-7 years focused on specialist factual producer, and it reflects in the way that we do have the 6 thematic pitching session from art and culture, science, history, wildlife and natural history, social and human interest. And this thematic correspond more or less to the slot that decision makers have in their for the broadcasters. But then, I mean, the big platforms are the new players that change, of course, the things a little bit, looking for series, of course, but also for feature-length documentary, which I would say they have big production values as much as fiction. For example, in 2018, Netflix did a big presentation explaining what they were looking for, and we are trying to have also the other bigger ones, but of course it's take times.
You had to repeat it, I believe, no? That presentation like twice,
yeah,
because the auditorium, the large auditorium was totally full, and it was...
Yeah, we had to repeat it after, right after, actually. It was 1 hour presentation, but there was so many people that we had to do it again. So it was a big success, of course. But the idea is also to have them, of course, because they are involved more and more in co-production. They're looking for talents, but then, and I think it is important to have also independent platform that were existing and working in the last years. In Europe, for example, there is a big network of European platform. They're not yet so in the co-production, but is still for Finnish film a very good window for visibility. And during the last years with the pandemic, if you want to look for a positive side in some way of the thing, they've been having many subscribers, more than expected. So we saw as well that documentary and creative documentary as well could have a very nice audience, unexpected sometimes in some countries.
Mm-hmm. So I take the opportunity to remember for all the viewers of this panel from all Latin America that you are welcome to raise any issues or questions through this webinar platform, and as well as the social networks, Facebook and YouTube. So at any moment you can write down your questions and I will be passing them to Patrizia. So the idea is that this panel be the most interactive as possible. And Patrizia, thinking on Latin America and sunny side of the world, would you say that our region have a continuous presence, or is more marginal one? How has been the presence over the last year? I believe that I've seen a current presence of Brazil, maybe. I'm not really sure. So what's your view on the presence of Latin America?
Yes, in the last 3-4 years, I would say, even before I start working with the team, the Brazilian delegation has been one of the biggest also delegations, international delegation, and they're coming from many years. We've been working with them also with some training programs, and the Chilean one as well with Chile Doc. Actually, we've been talking also with other with producer from other countries in Latin America. We've been in touch with Argentina as well, Colombia, with the different institutions. And actually, Sunnyside always had this connection with Latin America. And if we if we go a little bit further in the past, we've been also having a Latin side of the doc. And basically it was the same principle that sunny side of the doc, but we've been traveling in Latin America. I think it was before I arrived in the team, but we've been in Buenos Aires, in Mexico, so we've been collaborating also with Docs de Jefe. Unfortunately, in the last years, it was a little bit more complicated in terms of supporting for the producers to come. But of course, I mean, one of our goal is to welcome producers from all the countries. And it was nice, for example, last year to receive also submissions from Paraguay or Costa Rica, and it was quite new, I guess. That one of the reason, in addition to the financing one, is also that, as I said before, we've been really focused on specialist factual documentaries. In the last 3 years, what we would like to do is to find the right balance between specialist factual and more creative or author-driven documentaries. Mm-hmm. And I would say that the art and culture pitching session, as well the socially human interest one, are maybe the 2 pitching sessions which are more open to this kind of documentaries. And there are also the 2 pitching sessions for which actually we receive more submissions.
Mm-hmm. So you have the arts and culture, history, science,
socially human interests, wildlife and natural history. And the 6th pitching session, it's not really thematic, it's the digital experience session, so it's open to any kind of thematic, but it's more about the technologies, because it is open to VR, ER, immersive experience, all the new ways of storytelling that we've been also seeing in many festivals, from Cannes to Venice to Berlin, and also because I would say cultural institutions, museums, they are more and more keen to produce and have this kind of experience and enable the audience to not just look at some piece of art, but really interact.
Mm-hmm. And for those producers or directors who are thinking on applying to those pitching sessions, how would you say, or is a successful application, or what are the key factors behind a successful project? I know it's really hard and it's very broad question, but some ideas or tips or advice in that sense for people thinking on applying?
If I can give you a few tips about the application, I would say that already the presentation of the dossier, it's very important. It's not really the number of the pages. Of course, we ask the classical things, synopsis, the treatment, the financing plan, etc. So I think it's not because we receive a dossier of, I don't know, 50 pages that it's a win already, but have to be really focused already in the synopsis to explain what the story is, what is important to tell, where is the international potential, why an audience from the other side of the world should be interested in it. I think this is the most important thing. Then in very practical terms, we are changing a little bit our requirements, so we're gonna be less strict in terms of the budget already confirmed, for example, because of the situation in the last year, of course, it's complicated to have already, I don't know, the 30% of the budget already in place. So we're going to be less strict about that. But the trailer, it's a very important element, even if it's not the final one, but for the jury is important to have few images, because we received, I mean, in the last edition, we received around 350 applications. So of course, for the jury to have to go through all these applications, even if two projects have the same strength, the one with the trailer would be more facilitated.
Yeah, and from last year's projects that were presented and submitted at the pitching sessions, if you can pick some of them to know, I mean, which ones were the most, I don't know, appealing to you, the most impressive, just to have a few examples of the projects.
Let me think. It's not an easy question. I would say that for the social and human interest speech, maybe the one that really struck me was an Ukrainian project. And it was quite new, because so far we didn't receive any project from Ukraine, but is a small market which is really developing in the last years. And the trailer was super strong, really cinematographic, and even, this is very personal, I would say, even before looking at the complete presentation, I was really struck by the trailer, and it was a very cinematographic, character-driven project. It was selected by the jury, and it won the social and human interest speech. So Sunnyside, it's true that it's for TV documentaries, but it doesn't mean that we don't have also project and documentaries that have then a festival life. We had also a project that have been pitched before or after us in other co-production forums such as ITFA or Sheffield or CPH Docs or others. So it really depends on the story and the international potentials, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And what about the transition that you are experiencing this year? And I mean, one of the things that I have enjoyed most of being in the market, especially at Sunnyside, is the human scale of the market. It's not a huge venue. It's very informal. There are chances of random meetings with people in the corridors or in social events. How are you trying to deal with that and trying to keep that essence alive in the next edition in this hybrid format?
It's a good question. It doesn't have an easy answer, because the informal networking is, I think, not only for Sunnyside, but for any events. It's really what's an added value. It's when you are having a drink during a happy hour, rather than just have your lunch next to someone you don't know, that you can have the most interesting meeting. So it's not easy to replace completely this kind of encounters, and we are thinking to a possible way to keep this networking going. For example, one of the things that we would like to do is to have this informal kind of coffee break hangout that we also already saw in other festivals, which are not really, like round table, but more a very informal and relaxed atmosphere, animated by one of our partners, for example, that can can be just a way to present yourself and maybe get to know someone you would have been contacted by email or you didn't know before. As for the experience we had last year with the Connected Edition, we also had virtual stands and pavilion where people can connect and exchange and then also schedule more formal meeting later. But we saw that it wasn't enough, and I think after 1 year, everyone is close in its place, looking at a computer. We need to do something new. So we are still thinking to a possible format to make it more fun. It's a little bit too early for me to go into details, to be honest, but the idea is to kind of, replace what it could be the lunch rather than a happy hour in a funny way for the people to connect.
And hopefully by June, at least producers from France or Europe will be able eventually to come back to La Rochelle.
Fingers crossed.
Eventually. And by the way, I believe that you have a small video clip presenting.
Yeah.
So maybe
just to give to the viewers an idea of what we did last year for the Connected Edition. As I said, now we're working on an hybrid one, so it's not going to be exactly the same, but just to give an idea, because some of the things that we did on that platform, we're gonna do it again and improving it, of course. So if it's possible to play the behind the screens of last year, it's a very short video.
Welcome to the 31st edition of Sunnyside and the first Connected edition.
I guess if we can take, we find that series are very...
Here's to Eve, and thank you so much, Tori.
All of them.
Do that as individual human beings.
To enjoy content about the book and
Can you come up with something different?
Sam is going to tell us more about a project that we introduced last year.
This is an estimate, but it's anywhere up to around 400 hours per year.
The third one is a very classical universal history.
C'est cet engagement que nous souhaitons partager avec vous aujourd'hui.
I would like to pay tribute to Yves Janot.
Au nom du groupe Canal+, je tenais vraiment à remercier toute l'équipe du Sunnyside.
Last year it was very intense, and all the team was in La Rochelle. It was quite strange to be in the auditorium just with the team and not with all the participants. So we really hope that in June we will be surrounded by our friends, producers, filmmakers.
Especially in a place like La Rochelle, which is a wonderful city to be doing networking with other producers and distribution companies and broadcasters, so hopefully. And talking about pandemic and COVID, this topic has been like a focus in the sessions or in the projects on the patient sessions. I don't know, for instance, investigative reports about the origins of the pandemic, or documentaries following the development of vaccines, or the social impact in poverty. It has been a focus of last year, and do you expect that it will be the same for this year?
Last year, we had a last-minute pitching session that we did in collaboration with the ABU, which is the European Broadcasting Union, and there are also international broadcasters like PBS and NHK participating to this group. And they asked us to organize a pitching session more focused on COVID from a scientific point of view, especially. And it was really interesting because there were very different stories from all over the world, and not only from the scientific point of view, also from the social one. Then, of course, we received in the submissions project talking about that, but I think it's important for the audience to understand what is happening around us. And unfortunately, many things nowadays are linked to the pandemic, because it has consequences on every aspect of our life, from a political to a social to an economic point of view. For 2021, it won't be our focus. But as I said at the beginning, every year we choose a thematic focus among the different pitching sessions. And we were already thinking since a couple of years to do something about social and human interest. And with what started last year with the pandemic, we thought that it was even more important to do it, because I mean, everything is linked. Whether there is an health crisis, it's linked to a political crisis, and we saw it in this last months, and especially in the United States, but not only. And the political crisis linked to the social crisis. So we thought that was really the moment for the documentary to play an important role this year more than ever. That's why we decided to do the thematic focus on social and human interest this year, and it's going to be a little bit different comparing to the past years, because it's not only the thematic focus, but it's a kind of philosophy in a way that we would like to put in place. The spotlight would be for this kind of project, analyzing what is happening in our world today, trying to explain and propose change as well, because the documentary is an important tool to share knowledge and propose new solutions. But we would like to make it like a kind of leitmotif, hopefully also for the future. So our focus will be more storytelling matters for the important that the documentary could have on our life, and we'll be focusing in different kind of pillars, from project that focus on social justice, climate change, major geopolitical events, but as well talking about diversity and inclusion, also the role of women in the industry and women-driven stories. So we have, many ideas. As for now, it's a work in progress, but we're gonna have some activities about that. We are talking also with many, as I said at the beginning, with many foundations, specifically looking for projects with a sometimes a journalistic approach, but not only, that focus on social justice rather than political issues, and that can have also an impact, a social impact after working really in the communities where the story it's told.
And those thematic focus will be available, will be open basically worldwide. It's not only for European producers.
Yes, of course. We are looking for projects coming from all over the world. And another important aspect would be also to welcome young emerging talents. And we are looking forward to welcome them. We started actually a couple of years ago focusing on Central and Eastern Europe, which sometimes is not so represented, and with the less represented countries. And we created what we call the Sunny Side of the Dog grants. And basically it was a kind of small support for producers coming from those countries to participate to Sunny Side. As for now, has been focused on these territories, but I mean, we never know. I hope we'll be able to make it bigger and make it available soon, also for other producers, also from Latin America, for example.
Right. So again, a reminder to all the viewers of this panel that the floor, so to speak, is open to questions from you, from the public, through the platform of the webinar or social networks. So anytime, just shoot and ask your questions. And perhaps you could show us the second clip that you brought us, and maybe give some context about that second video, Patrizia.
Yes, it's a short video talking about the focus explain a little bit the focus that we did last year, that it was about history and archives, and just a few words about how the focus works and what does it mean to have a focus. Basically, the focus means that in addition to the 6 projects that we select to be pitched publicly, because each pitching session has 6 projects, we select 6 more projects that will have access to one-on-one meetings with decision makers. So for 2021, the social human interest pitch will have 12 projects, 6 for the pitch and 6 for the one-to-one. In addition to that, what we do is to have many other sessions and activities around the focus. That could be panels, case studies, workshops. For example, last year, being the focus history and archives, we did 3 workshops on archive storytelling from a very practical point of view. And another important thing, which is a format that works pretty well at Sunnyside, because it's really practical. It's the mid-executive session. Basically, it's a 30 minutes where a top executive or commissioning editor, someone working in a platform or a foundation, explain their editorial line, what they're looking for, what are their plans for the future, and how it is possible to work with them. So for the focus, we do particular mid-executive session on the thematic. Last year we had more than 12 mid-executive focus on history and archives, from BBC to Arte to ZDF. And for 2021, there will be more focus, of course, on social issues. But we can roll the trailer of last year history focus, please.
Beyond the reach of human eye.
I will never forget
It's a project that we still have in mind. It's for practical reasons that we had to interrupt it. So to be honest, I don't know when and how we'll be able to come back. I hope soon. But it's now I think the last edition was in 2013. I wasn't in the team yet at that time, so I don't have specific answer about the reasons, but the idea is to, as soon as possible, to do it again, of course. As for Asian side, as well, we were actually working last year on an Asian side edition in China. But of course, because of the pandemic, we had to put it on standby. Many things are more or less ready yet, but of course, we have to wait and see how the situation will evolve for 2022. Hoping that we'll be able to have the Asian side of the doc in China.
And the aim of Asian side of the dog is building bridges to...
Exactly. Because we do have actually a nice delegations both from Japan, from Thailand as well, and from China. And it's not, everyone knows that it's not easy to do international co-production with Asia. But in the last years, they're opening more and more to work with Europe, with the United States, with Latin America as well. We've been seeing also nice stories connecting this different part of the world. And as for China specifically, they've been a little bit closed for some time, but they're opening again for international co-production, and there are many big platforms looking for projects even bigger than Netflix or Amazon, and they're looking for international projects. So it's really one of the role of Sunnyside is to push international co-production and help to, as you say, to build these bridges with different countries.
Yeah, and with China, it's a very long and
it's a long process.
Long process to creating trust to start working together. No, it's not just a matter of just meeting once in the market and then starting to do it.
It takes time.
That's what I heard.
No, that's true. It takes time. I mean, it takes more time that I guess for an Italian-Chilean co-production. But then, for example, they've been working on many wildlife and beautiful wildlife and scientific project. For example, last year we had this panel called Global Doc. And Global Doc is an initiative which is brought in particular by France Television, and they really started to push the collaboration within Europe, of course, first of all, so that, for example, they made the real international co-production with RAI in Italy, and RAI, which is the Italian public broadcaster, was usually more into acquisition and pre-buy. So it was really the first big important co-production involving two producer, two team, and two national broadcasters. But during this panel, we talked also about a scientific project, which is a co-production between France Television and CCTV TV in China. So little by little, they are opening again to international co-production.
Yeah, and definitely for producers in Latin America, it's a very interesting window, and we have explored just probably 1.1% of that huge market. And as you say, there are many platforms, even bigger than Netflix, which we're not aware, and that we could eventually work with them in the future. So it's
of course.
Yeah. And what about the other part of Sunnyside, Pixie? What is Pixie?
So Pixie, it's a kind of little brother, let's say, and Pixie, as it is, has been created 5 years ago, but actually it started even before. I would say since the beginning of La Rochelle, so more or less 13 years ago, there was the Sunny Lab. And it was really a kind of, experimenting lab for new ways of storytelling. And little by little, within the discussions and the panel and the workshops, it evolved. And we decided to make like an event itself. Pixie is happening at the same time that Sunnyside. They're not really two separated events, and what we would like to do is to make the two even more connected, but of course has a specific focus. It's a lab engaging innovation, but it's also a festival for immersive installations. So for example, 2019, so before the pandemic, we welcome in a very big studios of more than 500 square meters, installations, immersive installations coming from all over the world. We have a festival as well for that, and the call for project will open at the same time that for linear documentaries. But what I think it's interesting, as I said at the beginning, is that we have new players come into to the event, museums, scientific observatories, aquariums, what we call locate-based entertainment. All these cultural institutions, they are looking for content, and even if the distribution model it's not ready yet, there are more and more co-creation workshops for people to work together, and there are many new producer association more specialized on VR, ER, and immersive experience that are creating. There is one in France, one in Canada, in Germany as well. And it's interesting because they are really looking to collaborate the producers, but as well the museums. And for example, in 2019, we had more than 40 museums and cultural institutions from all over the world, including from Chile, for example, or museums like the MoMA or the Met, and they're really keen to discover those kind of stories. Then, of course, this year, with the pandemic, it has been pretty complicated for them. But in terms of research and new product, it's as we see also with all these events focus on this kind of technologies, that there is like, how can I say, that the audience is looking for it also because more and more they are used to that.
Sure, and especially in this context, and the interactivity and the immersive experience is the experience that we are living every day mostly.
Yeah, now it's part of our everyday life.
Exactly. Last year I attended Sunnyside, the online Sunnyside edition, as part of the Chile Doc delegation, and I think that one of the members from that delegation also took part in the Pixie, in one of the projects in immersive experience, VR experience, and actually I believe they got an award, and
Yes, yes. A Chilean project won the award for the digital experience pitch. And it was a very good project that we hope will be finalized soon. And we are actually following up also with the project that been pitched last year and the last 3 years, because we would like to be with the project, not only at the moment of the pitch, but try to promote and support them also after they've been at Sunnyside. So we've put in place what we call an observatory project, and the idea is really to exchange with the producer. And support them after they've been pitching to Sunnyside.
Yeah, actually the organizations reminds me...
Ancestral VR, yes.
Yeah, Ancestral VR from Maria Jose Diaz, from the production house Galgo Storytelling. That's the name of...
The winning project from last year, yes.
So the idea is also to following up and accompanying, and not only just one single event on a single specific date, but then
yes, to help the producers also in the following life of the pitch. I mean, we've been in contact with many of them, asking for suggestions, for example, for international sales agent when the project was a little bit more advanced, or when the project is finished in terms of communication, we can share on our networks and, make it more visible. Or another important tool of visibility for the project, through our newsletter or every week, or also during Sunnyside, for example, we also do have case studies like success stories with projects that have been pitched at Sunnyside and found co-producers, how was their experience. So which is a way to keep be in touch with the project, give them also an additional visibility. And in any case, even after the pitch, if there is a way we can help the project in their path toward distribution, we are of course glad to help them.
Mm-hmm. And to be aware of the key dates for this year. So the main event will be June,
yes, 21, 24.
24. Application starts when?
On February 18 till April 22.
Okay, so that's the window of opportunity to apply for the projects. And about the decision makers attending the event, is mostly broadcasters. The profile of decision makers attending the event has been changing over the last year. What is there like a key profile of decision makers?
It changed a little bit. The most part of them are broadcasters, and I'm talking of between 200 to 250 decision makers, more or less. But then it changed because of the platforms, of course, as we said, but also because of the new players, the museums and cultural institutions, and they are decision makers as well. But then, even if it's not, how can I say, it's not official, but one population which is pretty important at Sunnyside are the international sales agents. And if I can give also a tip to to the producers is to, when you have a project, really get in touch as soon as possible with an international sales agent, because they have a global vision of the market, of the distributions. They can help producers to structure a festival and a sales strategy. They can help in the applications as well. And we have many international sales agents coming again from really all over the place with very different lineup, and they play really an important role, more and more, I would say, in these last 6-7 years, because also they started to look for projects at a very early stage, not only when it's a rough cut or a final cut. So this is, would be my tip for a producer, not to wait too long before getting in touch with them.
And could you give us also a tip of how in advance we should prepare the market? If someone is thinking to submit the projects and attending online, for instance, how long before he should starting doing the networking, asking the meetings and these kind of things?
I would say 3 weeks minimum. Even if not more, especially if the first time for the newcomers. We also organize special sessions. It's a kind of welcome session where we explain how to navigate during the 4 days of the market, and it gives also tips how approach the decision makers, especially the broadcasters, because I make a very simple example. If there is a producers coming from Latin America who is looking for a co-production in France, in this case, it's better to go to see a French producer rather than directly Arte or France Television. So it takes time to prepare a market. But then, I mean, the team is also here to help, and we try to make the platform available as soon as possible with all the tools that someone coming for the attending for the first time also online could prepare the market as best. One format that we did last year, it was the MIDI experts meeting, and basically we had between 15 and 17 international experts in different fields, from business affairs to co-production to distribution and marketing or festivals, and it's something that we're gonna do again this year. And we pre-arrange meetings for the participants with this expert. But well, I would say that as soon as you start preparing your market, sooner is better in any case.
One of the questions that we have received through Facebook from Javi Arriagada: do you think that the market has provided results for Latin projects? The market has helped to be successful projects?
The market sunny side or the market in
sunny side, I think it's,
resources. I mean, as I said, we would like to put resources as we are doing for less representative countries in Europe. So this is what we are doing for now, but for the future, of course, we would like to make it larger, to include also Latin America. But then, I mean, it's not the idea is not just to do a one-shot thing, and it depends also on the institutions in Latin America. Of course, I mean, we are open to partnership and exchange, and part of my work, it's really to look for this kind of exchange. But for example, a very interesting thing that happened at a very interesting meeting that I had a couple of years ago, but before the pandemic at IDFA, was with a Colombian producer that was also a teacher in a cinema school, and we do have also students coming to La Rochelle from cinema school in France, in Germany. And one of our projects was to have more cinema school, to really give the chance to the young and the future talents to have an idea of what a professional market is. And if it was for the pandemic, of course it would be easier, but I mean, we've been also working with the American Film School, and our plan is to make it larger. Then, as for now, we don't have specific action for Latin American producers, but it's on our to-do list, that's for sure.
Yeah, but anyway, I think that the question was more general, not only
okay.
specific funds, but helping, the networking or to the progress of the projects. And I think I can also give an answer to that question from my personal experience. I remember that, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, I met some French producers working in my field, which is science. And we did like a matching for the things that we were working. And for instance, last month we finished the shooting in Colombia of a documentary film for Arte at Colombia. And now we have another team filming right now at Galapagos in Ecuador, also for a co-production for Arte. So in my case, it was very opening networks, and it was very useful to do this kind of matching. And another question that we received from Antonia Garreton, probably related to Pixie, is, do you have workshops to learn how to develop transmedia projects?
We don't have workshop, but it's more case studies kind of experience where we explain how a project has been realized. But then another part of our activities is to organizing also training. We've been doing that in the past years in Asia, also around Europe as well. We used to call it Sunnyside on Tour. And of course, we would like to do it also more specifically on transmedia project. I mean, as you saw, we have many projects, but the training that we organize are really for newcomers, emerging talents, and they are not regular as that would like to do. So it really depends on the local production delegation that we get in touch with, and they are usually on site. For example, we've been doing training in San Sebastian rather than in Barcelona, and it would be the same for Pixie. We don't have yet this kind of workshop. But I think a nice beginning would be just to get a look to this. We called it Kickstarter because it's really this kind of session that can explain already, even if more in a theoretical point of view, how this kind of project could be realized, but not yet practical. Within the Creative Europe initiative, we are working now on the co-creation workshop. For now, it's since it's an initiative of Creative Europe, of course, it's only with European countries, but I mean, our future plans will be to make it more international. And Canada, it's really developed in this sense, and we are working with them quite a lot on all these new technologies and new ways of storytelling.
Mm-hmm. And you're also having this year the global pitching, or what? If you can also give us some context about that experience.
So the global pitch is a 2 days event that will take place in 2 weeks on February 2 and 3. It's a pitching session, one-to-one events, and it's a kind of kickoff of what will be the storytelling matters focus this year. And it's focused on global issues, social issues, documentaries. And the idea is to organize this kind of very short and very targeted events all along the year before Sunnyside, of course during Sunnyside, but also after Sunnyside, to really make a kind of community, ad hoc community around Sunnyside, and also offer to different kind of participants, producer, filmmakers, different tools and contents to prepare Sunnyside in June for the session that we'll be organizing before June, but also to keep everyone connected also once the event is finished.
Great. Well, Patrizia, I think if there are no more questions from the audience, we will be approaching the end of this panel. So I thank you very much for your participation. I can see from your window that it's already late over there. And hopefully we will be able to meet again personally at one day at La Rochelle. If it's not this year, it will be next year.
Next year, yeah. Fingers crossed, and thanks to you and all the Connecta team, and for the viewers to attend this conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And for those who are interested to know more about all the different lines of work that you were explaining, which is the best way to know more, the website or
yeah, the easiest way is the website. It's really easy because on the contacts, if you have particular questions on the content page, you have my email address. So you producers filmmakers can write to me for any questions. I know everyone receives a lot of newsletter, and sometimes we're not particularly interested in it, but for those who are interested in Sunnyside, I would suggest to subscribe, because it's where all the news about the Call for project, all the initiative, the deadline, and the case studies, all the resources as well that can be useful for in order to prepare the market.
Perfecto. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much, Patrizia.
Muchas gracias.
And